If someone from Amuse happens to watch this at some point, I would recommend a few changes to your terms. This is gonna be a deal breaker for a lot of music creators. This means they don't want you on their platform. And the right to have Amuse give other people the right without your awareness, your consent, and we've reviewed all of the major music distributor terms. I've actually never seen that in any of their terms. I don't like that. You guys have been asking me to review the Amuse terms of service for a while. Amuse, of course, being a music distributor. My goal, my mission with these reviews is to, using my experience of reviewing hundreds of terms of service, to let you know whether this contract that you're signing to use this platform is fair, what happens with your royalties, and anything you should be concerned about. So if that sounds good and you want some help with your music career, your music business, make sure you subscribe right now. Let's jump into it. All right, as you guys know, I'm a real lawyer. This is literally how I do things for my own clients. I send them videos just like this. I'm like, hey, look at your document. So we're going to jump to section 3 of the terms of service. And again, to be clear, this is the contract that you sign, that you agree to when you use the platform. That's why I have a problem with these distributors, is that you have zero ability to negotiate these contracts. You have just agreed to it by clicking that button that says I accept when you start using the platform. So section 3, grant of rights. So you agree to give Amuse services all the following rights in order to do the services of distributing your music to music platforms. Now, as I was going through this, normal stuff: to sell, transmit, make available, right? They have to send all your music to the Spotifys and the Amazons. To edit, alter, amend your songs and any of your cover art that you extend to the extent it's necessary in their sole discretion. Okay. My interpretation of that is sometimes they have to make previews, right? That used to be the case with iTunes, for example. To use your name, okay, they need to do that in order to distribute it. Now, something that caught my eye is that they go to authorize any third-party partners and or sub-licensees which offer services permitting the creation, use, exploitation of so-called remixes of your recordings and so-called user-generated content embodying your songs, including without limitation Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. So this is where my red flag went up initially, because we were reviewing a different distributor recently, and it came to our attention that this distributor was sending the music not just to music streaming platforms like Spotify, but they had in their list of all the dozens and dozens of places that your music was being sent to, one of them was a remix platform. And we took a huge issue with that, because we go, if someone does not know that their music is being sent to a remix platform to be remixed by people and then put onto social media without your awareness, your consent, that's a huge issue. So we actually ended up getting the music distributor to update this and to actually disclose to its users that if they selected this partner, their stuff was going to be remixed by strangers. So going back to this, it goes, well, you're giving us the authority to give other people and companies the right to create remixes of your songs, which includes without limitation all these platforms. So from that language, I would be very concerned, and I would look very carefully if I was using Amuse. Where is your music being sent to specifically? Because you have given the right to have Amuse give other people the right to remix your stuff. I don't like that. All right, let's talk about the money. Money is very important to your survival as a music creator. So as it pertains to royalties, payout, and commissions, if you do not have a subscription, or should your subscription not renew, a 25% commission will be deducted from your royalties. Okay, first of all, 25%, that's not a small amount, but what they're saying again is that if any reason your payment lapses, they're now going to take from your royalties. That's a big deal. If you are making a lot of royalties and then your credit card expires because, I don't know, you get hacked, you cancel your card, you see what I'm saying? That's definitely something to be aware of, but that's not the only percentage. They also have the same language for YouTube. If you do not pay for Artist Plus, then a 15% commission will be deducted from your royalties received via YouTube Content ID. Here's my thing with distributors. I never opt in for their Content ID. I don't want them doing that for me. I don't want them collecting it for me. I will collect it myself. I'm good. But I mean, 25% plus 15%, we're already at 40% of your earnings. Now, again, only if your payment method fails for some reason, but that's something that is catching my eye. Now, it gets onto other fees. They go, look, if there's any kind of artificial or alleged illegal streaming, and this happens all the time. We have these notices from Spotify where they're like, fraudsters, alleged streaming fraud, and then you guys didn't do do anything. But because something glitched in Spotify's system, it sent the music distributor a notice, and then the distributor's like, oh, we're gonna assess fees against you. And they have one of those in here, and it says, we have the right to withdraw from your earnings 10 euros per recording per month. In US dollars, that would be a little shy of $12 per month as a fee. In addition, we may take any of the following action without notice where we determine in our sole discretion, always it's like whatever we think, in our sole discretion that you have been, or may have been involved in fraudulent, artificial, manipulated, or illegal conduct, that you have uploaded infringing songs or otherwise in breach of the agreements. And this is all the things that they can do. They can deduct any of the sums, including the fee, from what's owed to you, deduct any and all sums from future earnings, okay, that would have been credited to your account, charge any and all required sums, including the fee, to your chosen payment method. Oof. This was a term that we saw also in the TuneCore terms of service, and that just is so red flaggy to me. And I go, so I'm going to give you my sensitive credit card information. You're telling me one day you could just go and charge my credit card or my PayPal account or whatever because there was an allegation. Not that you proved it. Not that anyone proved anything, because trust me, they never do. But okay, noted. Some countries are restricted by the Payout service as amended from time to time, and we are unable to process any payments to you should you reside in a restricted country. And then it goes on to talk about these restricted countries. Feel free to pause and look at this in more detail in case you happen to be in one of these countries, because they go basically, if you reside in any of these countries, please do not register to use our platform. We will be unable to pay you. All right, that's important. And we've reviewed all of the major music distributor terms. I've actually never seen that in any of their terms. Now, here's the other thing. So, with, for example, DistroKid will do the administration if you have writing partners, right, or collaborators. So meaning it will pay based on the splits you tell it to pay for the song. So they have something like this, but it's a little different. Royalty splits. You can split earnings on a song with others. However, to receive a share of the earnings, any recipient needs to have an Amuse account. If you have an artist that does not have a subscription, then what happens is that they're going to take 15% from your share, regardless of when the split was created. What they're saying is that if you have someone who needs to collect, they sign up for a free account. What we're going to do to get paid for that free account is take 15% from your share. So if your share is 15% and the other person's getting paid 75%, that means you are literally making no money. And you are basically just paying to use the service on top of literally paying to use the service, assuming this is a subscription model, which is what it said. Okay, we're in section 9 here. Are we having fun yet? Prohibited uses. You may not upload your songs, your cover art to do any of the following case. So this is pretty standard. We see hateful, defamatory speech stuff, to promote sexually explicit or violent material, something that is discriminatory in nature, something that's threatening, upsetting, alarming, anything that violates any third-party rights or regulations. But this is what I think is going to lift some real eyebrows for you guys. Contains content that is generated by so-called artificial intelligence, whether in whole or in part. So if you make AI music, this means they don't want you on their platform. All right, so we decide as Amuse whether or not you breached any of the sections and whatever in our sole discretion. If we deem there was a breach, we're going to take all the actions against you. We're going to assess fees. Okay. Now this, again, just jumped right out. Note that we also do not allow the following: covers of classical music. They also don't allow podcasts, audiobooks, radio shows, parodies, tributes. So basically ASMR, sounds, rainforest, traffics, or a cover version, being a recorded of a previously released song of which you are not the original author. This is huge. Okay, can we recap? They don't want you to distribute music through them if you make AI, if you have covers of classical music. Guys, if someone from Amuse happens to watch this at some point, I would recommend a few changes to your terms, okay? And one of them would be, if it's classical music, it no longer has copyright protection. I'm not sure why you would exclude that, right? If you're doing a little Beethoven for release. So I would personally take that out, but this is also including cover versions of songs. I think this is going to be a deal breaker for a lot of music creators. Section 14, our rights. In addition to all the other rights, we have the right to discontinue or terminate your access, reject your music, or otherwise do whatever we want at any time. Okay. Term and termination. Section 17, Amuse may terminate the agreement, suspend your account at any time for any reason. And that's pretty normal, guys. Music distributors are like, we're a private company. We'll do what we want. And if we want to kick you off our platform, we'll do that too. But here's where you need to really pay attention to whether this is a company you want want to work with. I am so open to what you guys have to tell me about your experience using this platform. This is the four corners of the contract as I'm seeing it. I'm a lawyer. I've done this for a very long time, but also how a business conducts itself is very important. So give me your customer experience. But section 19, limitation of liability. You agree that at no point can Amuse be held liable for anything more than $100. So this is a very aggressive limitation of liability, and in practical effect, it means you can't do anything if they ruin your life for some reason and you try suing them. I believe they're in Sweden. The most that you can get is $100. Final thoughts. As it comes to companies saying, we're going to kick you off our platform, we might lock you out of your account, we might assess fees and this and that, we do see that across the board with most music distributors. There were some oddities in this terms of service as far as AI usage or non-usage. They don't want it if it's AI. They don't want cover songs. They don't want classical songs. They definitely don't want your noise, your ASMR. No can do with any of that. So that's what the contract said. Please let me know your experience with this company. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. And since you're releasing music, be sure to check out my free download, Sell Before You Stream, which is my method to make you money before you just put your music on Spotify, which is the last step. That's where you go and just have it sit and be accessible to people. You're not going to make money there. So check out that free download. I'll see you guys on the next one.